Welcome to the Chronicles of Humanism, where every Wednesday we explore what happened this week in history and talk about what it has to do with humanism. I'm Kiwi Callahan. I'll be your tour guide on this journey. This is actually a really exciting week because this Monday we're all going to be celebrating Labor Day. What does Labor Day have to do with humanism? Well, to understand that, we have to go back to the very beginnings of the holiday. The first Labor Day was celebrated on Tuesday, September 5th, 1882, right here in New York City. It was celebrated with a parade and a massive picnic organized primarily by the Central Labor Union. Union leaders weren't sure how it was going to pan out because it wasn't a national holiday yet, so anyone who wanted to participate in the parade was going to have to give up a day of pay to do so. It turns out they didn't need to worry because by the time the parade reached its destination on the west side, a park called Wendell's Elm Park, it was an estimated 10,000 strong, a huge demonstration of the people of New York's support for the labor movement. So what's the big deal? Why is this important? Why? Well, it's important to remember that while all of this was happening in the early 1880s, we were right on the tail end of the Industrial Revolution. And while America was leading the way in manufacturing and technological innovation, American workers were suffering massive injustices in the workplace, and labor unions were being formed to right those wrongs. And here's where humanism comes in.
Here we go.
Fast forward with me a couple decades to the beginning of the 1930s, which is another time of economic upheaval in the United States, the beginning of the Great Depression. Roy Wood Sellers, a professor of philosophy at the University of Michigan, and Raymond Bragg, the secretary of the Western Unitarian Conference, gathered journalists, educators, philosophical leaders, and were like, guys, the world is totally crazy right now, am I right? And the group was like, yeah, it totally is. One of the primary concerns of the time were the wildly expanding income inequalities that seemed to be beyond anyone's control. This was even before Roosevelt's New Deal, and these men felt like the world needed a radical change in perspective. So they decided to write the first Humanist Manifesto. In it, they specifically reference the economy and labor in two places. In one paragraph, they say, "The humanists are firmly convinced that the existing acquisitive and profit-motivated society has shown itself to be inadequate, and that a radical change in methods, controls, and motives must be instituted." In a later paragraph, they state that humanists endeavor to establish the conditions of a satisfactory life for all, not merely for the few. In the second Humanist Manifesto, signed in 1973, humanists continued to voice their commitment to economic reform and even had a major labor leader of the time, A. Philip Randolph, add his signature. The latest Humanist Manifesto, signed in 2003, states, "We seek to minimize the inequities of circumstance and ability, and we support a just distribution of nature's resources and the fruits of human effort so that as many as possible can enjoy a good life." But even if it didn't state it anywhere in a manifesto specifically, supporting labor issues would still fit right in with humanist values. The most basic philosophy behind humanism is that every person should strive to make the world a better place for all people, which is why this Monday we are all going to be raising beers in our backyard in honor of the labor movement and all of the American workers who have done just that. And we hope you will too. That does it for this episode of the Chronicles of Humanism. Join me again next Wednesday for another look at how humanist values have shaped history. In the meantime, if you want more information about humanism, you can click here to be directed to the Secular Humanist Society of New York's website. And if you're in the New York metro area, I highly encourage you to take a look at our events page and come enjoy life with us. I'm Kiwi Callahan. Until next time, stay curious.